This is a story about a very unusual friendship, and it's inspired by actual events. On a warm July night, Annie lay in her bed all curled up, but she couldn't sleep. Annie and her mom had just moved to a new town where they didn't know anybody. It must be hard, right? And sometimes at night she just lay there missing her old friends. But on this night, a warm breeze came through the window, her second-story window, soft as a whisper. And Annie felt herself getting a great big yawn. And just as her eyelids started to flutter and droop, she heard this sad, sad sound. Caw! 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 Well, Annie looked out the window, and she saw the tree outside her window, and in that tree, she saw a crow's nest, and inside that nest, she saw a little baby crow, and no one else. The crow was by itself. "Oh, baby crow," she said, "you must be so sad, all alone like that." "Caw!" said baby crow. "Caw!" "Don't cry," said Annie. "I'm sure your mommy and daddy will be home soon. They probably just went to a barn dance and lost track of time." And then she began to sing gently to baby crow. "Baby crow, not alone, not a..." And soon, baby crow nestled down in her nest, and she tucked her head with some help under one wing, and she fell asleep. Well, this went on night after night. Baby crow was alone, and Annie sang to her, and the crow fell asleep. But soon, barn dance season was over, and baby crow's parents were spending their evenings at home, and they liked listening to Annie sing too. Well, July became August, August became September, and now the leaves on baby crow's tree were turning bright orange and gold. And it was a very important day because baby crow wasn't little anymore. Baby crow was now old enough to leave the nest on her own. It was also an important day for Annie because she was having her first day of school, a school where she didn't know anyone. Has anyone ever gone to a school like that where they didn't know anyone? Yeah, I see some heads nodding. Kind of scary, isn't it? But Annie packed up the lunch that her mom had made her and put it in her backpack and headed out onto, she was just going to walk 2 blocks down and 1 block across to her school. And she was thinking, you know, maybe I'll meet some friends on the way. So she's walking down the sidewalk, and sure enough, on the other side of the street, she sees some kids who look about her age. And she starts waving to them. And do they wave back? No. Instead, they're giggling, and they're pointing, and they're pointing, and giggling, and giggling, and pointing. And it looks like they're pointing behind her, too. So slowly, Annie turns around, and who do you think she sees? Any ideas who it might be?
A crow.
Yes! It's baby crow, hopping along behind her. "Oh, baby crow," she said, "I'm so glad to see you. But you know, you're really not a baby anymore, are you? You're bigger now. I think I should give you a name." Kids, what should Annie name her crow? Lily? Lily? Okay. Lily it's Lily the crow. I like the name Lily. So, when Annie reached the big brick building, guess who was still hopping along behind her? Lily. "Oh, baby crow, thank you so much for keeping me company," she said. "But you know, I don't think they allow crows in school." And Lily tilted her head just a little, as if she understood the rules. Well, Annie was hoping that no one who was giggling and pointing at her earlier, was in her class. But as she walked down the hall in the school and toward her classroom, it appeared that everyone at the whole school had heard about the new girl and her strange companion. Annie went into the room. She could feel them starting to giggle and point again, and she just went and took her seat by the window and told herself, I don't care what they think. I don't care what anyone thinks. But at the same time, she started to scrunch and slump in her seat. Scrunch and slump, slump and scrunch, trying to make herself disappear. And she did not want to look at those kids. So she turned the other way and looked out the window, because her seat was right next to the window, and she looked out, and there, perched on a window ledge, who do you think she saw? Lily Baby Crow, yes, right there. And Lily Baby Crow let out the biggest, friendliest caw you ever heard. And when Annie heard that, she suddenly sat up straight and proud and confident. Annie, the teacher said, that crow seems to know you. She does know me, Annie said. When Lily was a baby, her parents were away, she would get scared and she couldn't sleep, so I would sing to her, and she would tuck her head under one wing and nestle down in her nest and fall asleep. Wow. For a moment, the room was silent. And then one boy raised his hand. Does your crow have a name? He asked. Yes, she said. It's Lily. And then a little girl raised her hand. Well, how come she follows you? Well, Annie said, crows are very intelligent. They remember faces. They remember people who are kind to them. And if you are kind to them, and they trust you, and you show that you care for them, they could become your friend. Well, from that moment on, the kids were not only in awe of the crow, but by Annie too. The end, for now. The two of them are going to have many more adventures. And if we have another minute, would anyone like to know some fun, amazing facts about crows?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. So, crows are really, really smart. In fact, they are as smart as a 7-year-old child. Are there any 7-year-olds here? You're going to be a 7-year-old. And how about, has anyone ever been a 7-year-old? Raise your hands. Okay. Well, you know just how smart 7-year-olds can be, right? And almost 7-year-olds. In fact, crows are one of the most intelligent animals on Earth. They are also very affectionate, and they can bring you gifts. If they trust you, they can bring you all kinds of little shiny objects, and for them, they're presenting you with a gift. And if they really, really care about you and trust you and you're kind to them, like Annie, they just might follow you around.